What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, two-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime, Shawn Porter, he explains the situation with he and undefeated three-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and TERENCE Bud Crawford. With that said, Shawn Porter was the number one WBO mandatory challenger, and then the WBO, they came out, they replaced Shawn Porter from number one to number two, and it was widely speculated and reported that Shawn Porter did not put in for the petition to have the fight with Terence Crawford and the undisputed and the mandatory position, okay? So Shawn Porter, he explained somewhat as to why and what took place, okay? Let's listen to a bit of what he had to say.
Know that when you saying, well, hey, you should have did this, you should have did that. I have people that I have to listen to, and when those people give me direction, when those people give me the business and tell me where it works to my advantage and where it doesn't, I have to sit back and do what I have to do. And then,
so you heard him. He said that I have people that I have to listen to. I have people that on the business side that, I have to respect their part and what they do because, it equals a team, essentially, is what he's saying. So he respects what they're doing. He respects their stances. So he has people that he has to, he has to turn to, right? He has to listen to, essentially, okay? Obviously, he is the brand, but he has people that, that makes a team. His father, trainer, and manager, Kenny Porter's his father, trainer, and manager. Obviously, he's with the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, and founder and advisor Al Heyman. So, Shawn Porter, he has people that he has to listen to, right? And obviously, he trusts their direction, and that's what makes a team. So let's just keep listening to what he had to say.
at this point in time, I'm still sitting back and seeing what's going to happen. Y'all think activate the mandatory. Wow, it's a great catchphrase. It's a great.
So he said, we think that the quote, activate the mandatory position, right, and push for the fight. He says it's a great quote, right, but it's not an actual thing in the sport of boxing, is what he's going to say. And he stated that he's going to state that he don't actually need the mandatory position to start to negotiate, okay? So he says that it's not even squared away. So there's still a possibility that this could take place, okay?
Theme is something nice to be heard and said. Don't none of y'all know what it means to activate a mandatory clause, and don't none of y'all know if activating a mandatory clause is even a real thing in boxing. But
so he says nobody knows if activating a mandatory clause is even a real thing in the sport of boxing, and nobody knows what it means to activate the mandatory clause. Well, me personally, I personally contacted the WBO to see, what took place, and they stated that, when you're in a mandatory position, you have to essentially put the paperwork in to, enforce your mandatory position. Okay, you put yourself in position by you earning your keep by the fights you fight, and working your way through the ranking system, and you earn your keep. You become the number one WBO, WBC, IBF, WBA, Ring Magazine, the IBO, whichever, and you put yourself in position to become the mandatory challenger. It was also stated to me that this is what Oleksandr Usyk did in his situation with Anthony Joshua. But Anthony Joshua had to respond, and Anthony Joshua essentially has to pay Oleksandr Usyk step aside money, because Oleksandr Usyk, he is looking to enforce his mandatory position. The same thing was told to me about Terence Crawford when he moved to welterweight from junior welterweight, and he was the automatic mandatory challenger for the WBO belt, that he indeed let the WBO know that was the route he was going to take, and thus saw him in his first fight at welterweight face off against Jeff Horn. Okay, so maybe Shawn Porter's situation is different, but this is what I was told from the WBO.
if they come on, it could have been simple negotiations by PBC and Top Rank, and they'll come on and say Shawn Porter has activated his clause to fight, his mandatory clause to fight Terence Crawford. No, PBC and Top Rank structured a deal and made it happen. They're going to give you what they want you to see. So now we're seeing something a little different. Again, no excuses. And I still got to call my man, and, I want to go on record for saying for some time now I felt like in some capacity I've disrespected him, kind of going away from our agreement to speak to one another and, kind of getting out saying, hey, I want to fight to do it. I think I did that a little wrong and I haven't called him yet. So maybe I'll give him a call this week and then I'll have something for y'all this coming weekend.
So he's saying that, he had an agreement with Terence Crawford that he would call Terence Crawford and that, they would agree to if they were going to fight or not. Now, we did hear Terence Crawford utter the same sentiments. When Terence Crawford, he stated that me and Shawn Porter will sit down personally together and we'll hash out if we're going to fight. So he's saying that, he kind of got away with that. He got away from that. And he put it out there that he wanted to fight Terence Crawford. And he feels like he shouldn't have took that route. He says that he's going to contact Terence Crawford and see if they could come to some sort of agreement as their initial plan was. And he says that he'll have something for the fans and everybody by the end of this week. With that said, everybody was looking forward to Terence Crawford possibly facing 8th Division World Champion, legendary, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pacman Pacquiao. And if he can't secure a fight with Manny Pacquiao, Terence Crawford, he stated that he will revisit the possibility of facing Shawn Porter. Okay, now Shawn Porter is saying there's no such thing as activating a mandatory, but we heard Terence Crawford's side and his team say that if Shawn Porter truly wanted to fight with Terence Crawford, well, then he would activate his WBO mandatory position. So there's a lot of confusion here because Shawn Porter is saying there may not even be such a thing. But even Terence Crawford's team is saying if you truly want the fight, then activate the mandatory position. And if you don't want it, if you're not going to activate the mandatory position, then step aside and let us handle whatever business we're going to handle in front of us, okay? So obviously, the fight that people want to see, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, is Terence Crawford versus undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer who is widely considered to be top 3, top 2 pound-for-pound fighters, best fighters in the world in Earl the Truth Spence Jr. But if that's not going to come to fruition, that's not going to be delivered, then we have the situation with Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford, which seemingly fell through. And seems like Manny Pacquiao has now turned his attention and his sights to 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia. So the next best fight would be Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter. That's the fight that the fans want to see. That's the fight that the boxing pundits want to see. And ultimately, Shawn Porter, he stated that was the fight that he wanted, okay? Obviously, Terence Crawford, he had his sights set on Manny Pacquiao. It's a fight he was looking to secure for the better part of 6 years. So Shawn Porter is saying that they had an agreement in place where they would sit down and hash this out, the details and everything, themselves, and then decide if this is something that they wanted to pursue. And Shawn Porter is saying that he got away from that, and he took a different route in which he's stating that he decided to let the world know and call out Terence Crawford publicly, where he felt like he should have did it behind closed doors. And so he's saying now that's what he's going to do. He's going to reach out to Terence Crawford this week, and we should have some answers as far as what's going to take place next. We know legendary promoter, Top Rank CEO, and promoter Bob Arum, who promotes Terence Crawford, he stated that Terence Crawford may not be back in the boxing ring until September. Now, initially it was talked about that it could possibly be May 29th. Then it seemed like, it didn't seem like. We had Brian McIntyre, trainer and manager of Terence Crawford, and Bob Arum stated that Terence Crawford be back in the ring June 5th. And now Bob Arum is saying since the Manny Pacquiao fight fell through, it may not be till September. Shawn Porter stated that he'll be ready in the end of May, when he publicly called out Terence Crawford via social media. And now he's saying that he's going to reach out again. This is a fight Shawn Porter hasn't fought since last August when he took on Defeated for Miller. And now, Terence Crawford hasn't fought since November, since he took on and defeated Kell Brook. So both fighters are available. Hopefully it comes to fruition. That's big news. So let's see how this plays out. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. All one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Bumgarner, you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.